time for some 8-1 for your home. Join with us now. We have Mary Beth Fura here, who is the owner and principal designer over at 1221 Interior Design. Welcome to the show, Mary Beth.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, tell me about your agency and your business that's dedicated all towards interior design.
Yeah, so I meet with homeowners and I help them with whatever their particular issue is with design. So sometimes that's just helping them brainstorm ideas, colors, ways that we can lay out the room. Sometimes it's more in purchasing furniture and doing space planning for them. And then sometimes it's doing renovations and even doing new home builds where we're selecting all of the materials and making all the decisions for their particular project.
Okay, so yeah, long-term stuff and even short-term
projects. Yes, definitely.
All kind of things in between. And I thought, man, that would be so much fun, interior design and decorating. And you said it's a lot of math.
It is a lot of math. You know, getting the right measurements, getting the right materials, purchasing the correct amount of materials. And you know, when you're doing different cuts, you need certain amounts of overages. So there's a lot of math in it. But I always enjoyed math, so that's a fun part for me.
Yeah, well, that is the worst when you have your materials and then you realize you don't have enough, or oh my goodness, this piece of furniture is too big, it's not going to fit, now what?
Space planning is a big part of a successful room, and being able to have the right flow, the right layout, that the furniture feels proportional, and making sure that you can actually use the room the way you want to use the room. So one of the first things I do when I meet with a client and we're discussing a particular room is we talk about what this room is used for on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, and then those events that happen a few times a year. So that we're making sure that we're designing the space for the daily, weekly, monthly, but then we have solutions for the, you know, Thanksgiving gathering that happens once a year.
It's functional, but it still looks good because we don't live in a museum.
Yes, very much.
So you're talking about some of the top trends of 2025. Some things that you're seeing in this realm of design and home decor. So what are you looking at?
So I always tell people that when they are looking at the trends, to make sure that they're selecting trends that that you don't want to focus too much on the trends, but it's nice to be aware of them, especially if you feel like your home needs some freshening up. So it's a balance, and you want to make sure that the trends you're selecting also work for the architecture of your home. You know, some trends are very traditional based, some are very modern based, and if you have a home of a particular style, you want to be cognizant of that. But one of the things that we're seeing a lot in design today and have for the last several years is muted, saturated colors. So darker tones. For a long time we were seeing a lot of whites and creams, grays. Those were really just everywhere, and people are bringing a lot more color into the space. So some of these are some of the Sherwin-Williams Color of the Year palettes that I'm showing here.
All the Pantone.
Here, this is a good way.
There we go.
So you can see some of these colors. And a lot of colors that are in nature. So the greens are super popular. I've probably done a few kitchens now where we've used a darker green as one of the colors. So that's definitely a trend we're seeing. We're also seeing a lot of design inspired by nature. So again, the colors, but also materials. So I brought in a basket here to show you. This type of texture is still neutral, or the color is neutral, but it brings in a lot of texture to the home, so that's a really easy way to bring in nature. And there's a lot of research that actually shows that using organic shapes and materials that remind us of nature can help lower your stress levels. And so there's a positive impact for that, not just from the design standpoint, but from also, you know, helping you feel comfortable in your home.
We love that.
Yeah. Another trend that we're seeing a lot is wallpaper, and I brought in some grass cloth. So again, this is a natural material that you can use in your home. What's great about wallpaper today is it's definitely not the wallpaper of the 90s, but using wallpaper, especially something like grass cloth, is a way to make a big impact in a space, but without having, you know, to add furniture, it's a cost-effective impact, I should say.
Yeah.
So, and grass cloth in particular is really easy for a novice to install because you don't have to line up patterns.
Right.
So that's a good one for people who want to dabble in the wallpaper trend. And then finally, we're seeing a lot of layered spaces. We're seeing a lot of organic colors, you know, terracotta, you know, using natural materials. I brought in some tile that is marble.
That's beautiful.
So there's all, I would say nature is definitely a theme, the saturated colors, and then those layered, comfortable spaces. People don't live in a museum. They want to live in a place that they feel comfortable in. They want their home to be a sanctuary. So anything that helps create that, which is also a little bit of a difference from where we were 15 years ago, where everything was about, you know, white, clean, very, you know, sometimes stark interiors. We're kind of rebelling against that and having those warmer colors.
I like the earthy tones and that vibe too, because I mean, it's kind of timeless. With a lot of these things, that's like, well, it could look dated in a few years, and I don't want that.
When I tell people that are trying to determine if something is going to be timeless or not for their home is, can they imagine this being in a home that was in the 1920s or the 1940s or 60s? And if they can go through multiple decades and say, yes, this would have worked in a home then it's going to be something that's timeless. So that really kind of helps people ground themselves and say, yeah, this doesn't feel like, oh, it was purchased in 2025 and in, you know, 2030 I'm going to feel like, oh, this is outdated.
But also staying true to your personal preferences. I mean, you're the one that's going to be looking at it every
Definitely.
day.
I tell my clients all the time that I can tell them what I like, but at the end of the day, it's their home, and they need to pick out what's going to feel right for them.
Yep, I know. Personalization, customization, you walk through with the clients of each step of the way?
Yes.
Depending on the room?
Yes. I have a process that we go through where we talk about what the needs are for the home, their design inspiration, then we talk about what they actually want to purchase, what their investment level is, and really walk them through every step of that process, of the design journey, so that they can feel really confident about making the decisions at the end of the day. Because it's your home, and it is an investment, and I want them to feel really good about what they're choosing for that space, and that it's actually going to resolve any of the design issues that they have and make it functional for them.
And do you do commercial and residential?
I do a little bit of commercial. Mostly the commercial I've done have been offices, some
spaces like that.
Yeah, okay. They're a little bit harder to classify. Yeah, mostly residential. That's definitely the area that I enjoy the most.
In your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Well, what is the best way to start the process of working with you or learning more?
Yeah, so my website, 1221design.com, is a great place to start. You can get a little bit of information about my process, about some of the projects that I've done, and right on there you can click to schedule a call with me. And then that's really low commitment. We just schedule the call and talk about your project and see if what the next step is, if working with me is the right next step for you. And that's really the best place to get started. They can also follow me on Instagram. I try to put some behind the scenes things in my stories. I'm at 1221design.
That's great. Mary Beth, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, wonderful stuff. If you're interested in learning more, you can head over to our website, WTAJ.com. We'll have this full segment posted there.